Mr. Mike Bennett. He's been on the show before. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Powerhouse Radio, Mr. Bennett.
What's happening, guys? Thank you for having me.
Hey, you're very welcome, man. I appreciate it. The last time you were on the show was a little under a year ago, about 8 months ago or so, and it was one of our biggest shows to date. Tons of listeners, and a lot of people wanted to hear what you had to say, so we look forward to talking to you tonight about what you got going on in your career right now, and let's get right into it. I mean, Final Battle, Ring of Honor's biggest show, is right around the corner, just a couple weeks away, December 14th, on iPay-per-view and in New York City. You can buy your tickets. And you've got one of the biggest matches of your career. How does it feel to step into the ring with Kevin Steen?
Yeah, I would have to say this is probably the biggest Final Battle match I've had to date. I've had a few, and Final Battle's definitely Ring of Honor's biggest show. I mean, you know, we always like to say it's our WrestleMania, but I always think better than WrestleMania. But yeah, I'm excited. This is something that I've been waiting for a long time. I have always wanted to work with Kevin, and I knew we had something special from the first time I ever got in the ring with him, and it's something that I've been hoping for and pushing for and working for, and now we finally got it. And I think this match is going to pleasantly surprise a lot of people. It's definitely going to be exciting, but I think it's going to be extremely brutal too, because it's for the Piledriver, man. And I'm not losing mine, and I know he's going to go all out to not lose his. And you know, there's a lot of people out there that don't want to see Kevin Steen no longer be able to use that move. So it's going to be an interesting match, but the one word I would use to describe it is definitely it's going to be brutal.
You think we'll see some blood in this match? Because blood in wrestling is one of those things that is kind of taboo nowadays. And I know Ring of Honor has also kind of strayed away from using blood. You think you're going to make Kevin Steen bleed or what?
You know what? I'm not going to make any promises with that, but it's if it calls for it, if I have to punch him in the nose and make him bleed, or if I got to do something, if blood happens, then I won't be held accountable. And I'm telling Ring of Honor this right now. I can't promise he won't bleed, and I can't promise I won't bleed, because I don't know. But it's the type of match where I wouldn't be surprised if the both of us shed some blood over this.
Man, I'm excited. Don't forget, folks, that's December 14th, in just a few weeks at the Hammerstein Ballroom. You can catch it on iPay-per-view. Is it on iPay-per-view, or am I wrong about that? Are you doing iPay-per-view this time?
I don't 100% actually know. I hope it will be. I know Ring of Honor's had their troubles with it. I would actually like to see them give it a shot again, because all the guys are working their asses off and killing themselves, and they deserve to be seen by more than just the people that are in the Hammerstein that night. And I think it should be seen live, because I think the live experience, I mean, people should always get it on video on demand, or, you know, get the DVD, but there's just nothing like watching a live wrestling event as it's going and reacting to whatever happens live. So I don't 100% know if it is going to be. I don't think they've announced it yet, but I hope that's one of the things where they try to experiment once again, because I think people will tune in. I think the card is good enough for people to, you know, despite the problems we've had, unfortunately, but I think this Final Battle card is one of the best we've ever had. So I think it's worth a second shot at this, or fifth, seventh, eighth, whatever shot at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just Ring of Honor, folks. It's the entire independent professional wrestling business that's using iPay-per-view. They just can't get the formula right yet, but it's definitely the future, and I think it's going to have a spot. Once all those kinks get worked out, maybe we get the next generation of internet going, maybe it'll work a lot better. But that's right. Go to the Hammerstein Ballroom if you can get there and check out Bennett versus Steen stretcher match. But it's been a long year for you, man, since we've talked. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of trials and tribulations, like a lot of wrestlers have, but definitely for you. What are some of the highlights over 2013 that you've had that you want to talk about here on the show?
Well, 2013 was crazy for me. It was definitely a roller coaster ride, like you explained. I did some interesting stuff in Ring of Honor. I did some interesting stuff outside of Ring of Honor. I honestly and truly believe that this year I've had the best matches of my career. especially within the last, 4 or 5 months. I've had a stretch of matches where I've wrestled Kevin Steen and Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards and Jimmy Jacobs in a row, and I truly believe the fans are seeing some of my best work. Whether you hate me or you love me or you love to hate me, I think these matches are ones that you can't deny are truly some of my best. My match with Jimmy Jacobs in Baltimore at Charm City Challenge was hands down one of my favorite matches. It was just the story that we told was a lot of fun, and I think Jimmy Jacobs is one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated guys in Ring of Honor, if not in all of wrestling. He's been doing it a long time, and he's absolutely incredible. And getting the opportunity to go 20, 25 minutes with Jimmy was truly an honor. And we made magic that night. The fans were a little iffy when we started, but by the end of the match, they were loving it. And it's one of the things that I'm most proud of this year.
Absolutely. That's the thing about pro wrestling. Like, you keep getting better each and every year, and that's what you have to strive for to improve. It's always a business where you can keep learning. You never stop learning. And I got a fan question. I got a fan question for you. And this is something that, fans, this is from, I don't want to reveal his name because he's a good guy in my group. And I don't know if he was serious with it. But he goes to me, forget Mike Bennett, ask him how Maria's doing. So how's Maria doing? How's everything going with her?
I would think a normal guy would take offense to that, but you know what? I get it so much that I'm used to it, and I love it. I'm not talking wrestling. I love to talk about my fiance, and she's wonderful. She's doing a lot of stuff. She filmed 2 movies last year. Her first movie, Army of the Damned, comes out next year. Comes out in January. I believe it's going to be on video on demand to all the cable boxes in December of this year. We went to the premiere about a month ago, and it's a great, great movie. A lot of cool people are in it, and she's great. She plays a SWAT team member, and she's still wrestling, and she's doing a lot of great stuff. And I'm really proud of her. But she's great. So thanks for asking.
Oh, absolutely, man. We'd love to have her back on the show sometime in the future as well. Another fan question. They want to know if this is a new era for Mike Bennett and if the Prodigy is dead.
The Prodigy is dead. This is, my first few years in Ring of Honor were a lot of fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Bob Evans, but it was time to move on, and I showed that. And, I was a lot of people don't know about a lot of my training and who I was trained by, and people don't know that I was trained by Steve Bradley, and Steve Bradley called himself the Mofo. And for people that don't know what Mofo is short for, look it up on the internet and it'll tell you. But he instilled in me an aggressive side and a violent side that I'm about to bring out and unleash, which I've lately have, and I've been hurting people with the Piledriver, and it's the side that he unleashed on me, and it's definitely going to come out of Final Battle. I can promise you that. If I can promise you anything, I'm not going to promise victories or anything like that, but I will promise you that I am going to hurt somebody.
Man, I can't wait for that. And if there's a guy who's going to test your limits and you're going to have a battle with, it's definitely Kevin Steen. He's had some of the most notorious battles in Ring of Honor history, and especially in that building. I remember being in that building myself a couple years ago where he invaded Ring of Honor, and I was lucky enough to be chosen as one of the security guys, to try to get him out of that building. And let me tell you what, just dealing with him, trying to throw him out of the building, was not a walk in the park. That guy is crazy. And what's your thoughts on some of the things that Kevin Steen has pulled inside that ring? I remember him wiping El Generico's blood across his face, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Are you ready for everything on December 14th?
It's funny because I think my first Final Battle, I think it was my first one, I was the big violent match between Generico and Steen, and that was my first Final Battle experience. So I've seen a lot of the crazy things. I mean, last Final Battle, I believe Piledriver, Generico through a ladder. And so I've seen him do quite a bit to people, but I get asked that question a lot if I'm ready or prepared or this and that. But, I think, I know for a fact that I am the first person who's ever completely gotten under the skin of Kevin Steen. Lots of people have tried and they have failed. Kevin's always the one who gets under people's skin, and he's the one that plays the mind games. But me and Maria, I don't think anyone can match us when it comes to mind games. So, yeah, maybe I've pushed him a little too far, but the way I've gotten under his skin, I don't think people truly grasp or appreciate what I probably have in store for Kevin. They say, what does Kevin have in store for you? But I think the question should be, what do I have in store for him? Because I've truly, in the past few months, have always been one step ahead of him, and I think he can't handle it. I think I'm in his head. I'm from Boston, and they always talk about how Bill Belichick is in the head of Peyton Manning, and I think I am the Bill Belichick to his Peyton Manning. I think I'm in his head.
Yeah, what a game that was the other night, huh? Speaking of Belichick, what a game.
No, that was great.
Did you stay up and watch it? You stay up all night and watch it?
Oh, I stayed up. I'm a diehard fan. I wouldn't miss it. I knew they'd come back.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, man. They're pretty much Peyton Manning's kryptonite throughout the years, and that just shows you that, talk football for a second, it shows you that with a cold weather Super Bowl coming up, it looks like Peyton Manning does not play as well in cold weather as a guy like Brady does, who's used to it.
And he's out of his element.
Yeah, no question about it. I know we're bouncing around a little bit, but that's cool. We're going to get back to more on Kevin Steen in a little bit to close it out, but I gotta ask you this question. This is a question I often ask wrestlers, and it's about concussions in sports, not just in professional wrestling, but sports in general, and oftentimes in independent pro wrestling, where you are right now, these concussions kind of go like undiagnosed. These wrestlers might not realize they have as severe of a concussion as they do, and just because the medical staff just isn't like regular sports like WWE or even the NFL. But what are your thoughts on the concussion epidemic overall, and how will it ultimately affect the pro wrestling industry in the future?
I think concussions are extremely serious, and I think they need to be taken extremely serious, and I don't think enough guys on the independents take wrestling concussions serious. I know at the WWE level they do. I know in Ring of Honor they definitely do. And now, pro sports, they're taking them very seriously. But I have a problem with guys who place blame on anything. If an NFL player gets into NFL and plays football, he knows the risks. He's wearing a helmet, for Christ's sake. The sport requires you to wear a helmet. You know what you're getting involved in. And the same goes for wrestling. You know what you're getting yourself involved in. It's a contact sport, man. We get hurt all the time. But on the flip side, indie wrestlers, we don't have the trainers backstage, and we don't have the staff to tell us, hey, you can't do this or you can't go. But we as a group have to be smart enough. We represent an entire collection of guys and girls who have for so long been looked at not in a favorable light. So, and we do that to ourselves, and that's just one of the ways that we do it. Like, if you have a concussion, be smart enough to know that you can't go that night. You can't show me how tough you are by wrestling with a concussion. The only thing that shows me is how stupid you are, and vice versa. I mean, it's funny that you bring up concussions and injuries, because that a lot of people don't know about a month ago, I dislocated my knee, and I've been rehabbing it ever since. And so I've been pushing myself, and I'll be ready to go for Final Battle. But, I haven't told anybody that yet. But, I wrestled a match, and my knee popped out, and I popped it back into place. But I was smart enough to know to go to the doctor, to get it looked at, and for him to tell me what I needed to do, and I'm doing it. And I haven't wrestled since then, and I'm taking doctor's orders. So we need to be smart enough, whether it's a knee dislocation or whether it's a concussion. It's up to the guys. We're adults. We have to handle it like adults, and we have to know that we represent a group of guys that haven't been looked at favorably, and it's about time we do, because we are a smart group of guys. We have a passion and a dedication, and we bust our ass for something that we love. And we deserve to be respected and looked at like that, but it starts with us.
No, absolutely right. I've followed you on Twitter for a long time, and I've, as you know, I've talked to you before, and you've shot me some retweets and stuff. I'm a big fan. I think you're the future of the business. And one thing I've noticed about
thank you.
You're welcome. You're pretty outspoken about certain issues, not just in wrestling, but in politics, government, all that kind of stuff. Now, I know this is a wrestling talk show, and people are probably going to be pissed at me for this, but I don't really care. But I know you're a pro-Obama guy, as I am, and this Obamacare is kind of taken off. It's not really getting too out there too well. Not a lot of people are responding to it. There's a lot of criticism. But in a professional wrestling aspect, how does this affect, independent pro wrestlers and even guys in throughout other companies, maybe TNA or even Ring of Honor, that don't really have health care plans? Would this help the independent professional wrestler?
I absolutely think it will. I think it's a great thing. Like you said, I'm very much pro-Obama, but before I'm pro-Obama, I have been for a long time, ever since I got into politics, pro-universal health care. I've had the opportunity many times to wrestle up in Canada, and you just know that those people get free health care, and it just seems like a no-brainer to me. But unfortunately, I know far too many people in wrestling who don't have health care, and like I said, you blow out your knee unexpectedly, and you're going to have medical bills that are going to completely screw you. And not a lot of guys make enough in wrestling to pay for those medical bills. And, I think I actually appreciate the fact that you bring up talking about something other than wrestling, because I don't think there's so many guys in wrestling who have other interests and are so smart and believe in a certain thing and believe in a certain, whatever their other interests are. And nobody ever talks about it. And there's so many guys that have great interests. But yeah, I truly believe that it has to be. And yeah, it's not doing too well now, but it's something brand new, and I understand people's frustration with it and whatnot. But my rebuttal to that is always, what's the alternative? We can be mad about the fact that the website's not working or that things aren't going according to plan, but the other alternative is no universal health care, and we saw what that does, and that just completely screws everybody. It raises taxes. The people that can't pay for their medical bills, the people that we end up paying for them anyways. So I don't see what the big difference is. Health care is a right, and everyone has the right to it. So I look at this and I say, it's a step in the right direction. Rome wasn't built in a day. It had its faults. Let's give it a chance before we jump all over it in a month, because it has its hiccups or its speed bumps. But I'm excited for it. I hope more people take it to full advantage, and I think it's going to be a good thing in the long run. I think it's truly going to be what Obama goes down for, what he's remembered for as his presidency. I think it'll be his staple in American history.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. I've been following this pretty closely, and it's one of those deals where, like you said, Rome isn't built in a night. It takes time, and this thing is going to go from generation to generation. It's still law now, and people have to get it through their head. But as far as the independent pro wrestler, this helps them tenfold, and they should take advantage of it. So if you're an indie guy out there, you get hurt, get that sign up if you can. Do what you can and try to support this to the fullest, because it helps everybody in the long run. Talking about injuries and stuff, we're kind of on that topic. Another hotbed topic, not only in wrestling, once again, performance-enhancing drugs. Now, I don't want to know if you do them. It doesn't matter to me. I've admitted on the show that I've taken certain performance-enhancing drugs before in the past. But I'd like to get different opinions on them, because, pro wrestling is a sport where, and I'm calling it a sport because it is a sport, is a sport where it's not regulated throughout. I mean, WWE tries to have a wellness policy. I'm not sure what TNA's thing on it or Ring of Honor's policy is on it, but performance-enhancing drugs are used throughout the business. And in sports, it's a big deal. Major League Baseball, it's all the ruckus, even the NFL. What are your thoughts on performance-enhancing drugs in professional sports?
To me, I think the whole hoopla in performance-enhancing drugs is a scheme that the media cooked up, and then people started to believe that it has this negative or / positive effect on these ball players. And I don't have a problem with it. I don't give a crap. I don't care if Barry Bonds wants to get to 300 pounds. It's not going to help him hit a home run. It's you have to have talent above everything else. You have to work hard. I don't know of any guy who's taken, or pro athlete who's taken a performance-enhancing drugs who can strictly rely on performance-enhancing drugs to be as good as they are. Those guys work their asses off, and I believe it's just a slap in the face for all of a sudden these media people to come out and say, hey, you're only as good because you did that. No, that's crap. I think it's gotten this bad name. I don't promote it, nor do I look down on it. I think if you want to do it, great, that's good for you. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But there's far worse things that people accept. I mean, drinking is a huge epidemic in our country, and it kills more people than performance-enhancing drugs, yet we don't say boo about it, and it's legal. So I think people are very hypocritical when it comes to that. In professional wrestling, no wrestler dies because of steroid use. Wrestlers die because of steroid use on top of recreational drug use and on top of heavy drinking and on top of the lifestyle. It's never just performance-enhancing drugs. I've never heard a story of, oh, so-and-so died because he did too much steroids. That's such bull crap. It's just a story the media cooked up, and the crap in MLB, no fan cares. It's all the baseball association. In the NFL, everybody does it. Nobody cares. I think people need to get off their high horse every now and then and just chill out. Like, if you want to do it, great. If you don't, wonderful. But don't tell me it's this awful thing when people are drinking and smoking and doing other drugs. I mean, we have a substance abuse problem with pain medication. I mean, that's stuff people get prescribed if they get a broken leg. Doctors legally prescribe a pain pill for whoever gets hurt, and that's a huge problem. But we don't say crap about that. I think it's so hypocritical. Now I'm going off and I'm venting and ranting, so you can stop me at any time. But I just think I think people need to lighten up about it.
No, that's fine. You know, say what you got to say, because I agree with you 100%. And if I didn't agree with you, believe me, I would tell you I didn't agree with you. There's a big difference between use and abuse when it comes to this kind of stuff. Even like alcohol, as you mentioned, kills people every single day. But if somebody just uses performance-enhancing drugs and doesn't take advantage of them, especially to help heal your body, heal from injuries and whatnot, when they're prescribed by a doctor, you know, there's a big difference between use and abuse, and I think that's what people need to get through their head. Right.
I agree 100%, and I think there's far worse in this country that, if going after people that do performance-enhancing drugs is your objective, then you have a lot of problems, because there's far worse in this country that goes on that, for whatever reason, people accept. So.
Yeah, it's a huge waste of time. Now, you got a great body, bro. You're in fantastic shape, and I asked you about this last time as well, because I'm a gym rat. I love to go in the gym. Right now I'm bulking up. I'm kind of eating whatever I want around the holidays, trying to put some pounds on my frame. But what have you been doing in the gym lately, man? You mixing it up? You doing anything different?
Yeah, it's actually, I've gotten into this, a buddy of mine used to be a wrestler. His name was Chris Venom. He is a personal trainer down in Rhode Island, and to rehab my knee, I went to go see him because he's big into this functional training and functional workout and strength building, and it's a lot. There's a strength coach named Eric Cressy who he follows, and he's just got me doing this a lot of like sports function training and sports conditioning that I've never really been into, and I love it. You know, he's got me using bands and kettlebells and different body weight exercises and stretches, and it's a lot of what DDP Yoga preaches, but I go down to a gym and he helps me rehab my knee, and then he shows me some other stuff, and then I mix that in with my normal routine, and it's been great, man. I feel great. I've never been one to be very flexible, but I'm getting there. A lot of my pain comes from not being very flexible because I've never been one to stretch, but these exercises not only help you work your core muscles and help build strength, but they also help you stretch your muscles, and I'm very focused on lengthening my career right now because I realize wrestling won't last forever, but I can have a say in how long if I want to add more years onto it. So I still do my bodybuilding stuff, and I still want to look good for TV and look good for wrestling, and that's still very much a focus of mine. But I've been mixing in some of this functional training, which it's been awesome.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do some of that after the holidays are over. Right now, like I said, bulking up, trying to put some pounds in this frame. But yeah, I'm also trying to be a personal trainer. So I'm trying to get things moving in a positive direction. Do a lot of different things in the fitness industry, which is very important, not just in pro wrestling, but in general. So if your fans are out there listening, definitely try to you don't even have to the gym. Just do 10 push-ups while you're waiting for your video game to load. Do that every single time before you know it. Right? Like how important is it, not just for wrestlers and not just for athletes, but just for the normal individual to stay in shape, Mike? It's important, right?
A healthy lifestyle is extremely important. It's okay if you want to eat pizza and have fun and that stuff, but, keep yourself active. Your body was meant to move. It wasn't meant to sit around and do nothing. So even if you do something, even if it's take a mile walk around your neighborhood, take your dogs for a walk, whether it's 10 push-ups, 10 squats, and 10 sit-ups every day, who cares? Just do something where you're staying active. It'll add years to your life. It'll add years to your heart. It'll just make you feel all around better. And I don't think people realize how much your body reacts to not, living healthy. I mean, your skin can get better, your hair can get better, everything can look better, your teeth, everything. If you live a healthy lifestyle, you'll have a glow about you. I mean, I just think to me, it's always been easier for me because I've always been into sports and enjoying it, and I understand, trust me, how extremely difficult it is for some people, but it's one step at a time, It's one of those things. A lot of people, if we mention the holidays coming up, and I always talk about how January, that's when all the New Year's resolution people come to the gym, and I always go to the gym sometimes with my buddy, and they're always, I hate when these people are coming, they take up and I always love it, I love seeing people who want to live healthy and push it, and I tell my buddies, I can't wait till they leave, and in my head, I'm like, no, you know what, I want them to succeed, keep pushing, because I know 90% of them will give up, but to the 10%, good for you. Maybe next year it'll be 20%. I like it. I encourage that. I think healthy living is a great way. And I'm not saying you got to be straight edge. I'm not saying you can't eat pizza or eat chocolate or have fun, but mix it in with both. If you eat a whole pizza, go to the gym the next day and work an extra 20 minutes.
Exactly, man. That's great. Awesome. Hopefully the fans kind of digest that a little bit. You got a couple more minutes for maybe 2 more questions or so, because I got some fan questions here for you.
Sure. Fire away.
Okay. All right. Here's one. They want to know what your thoughts are on another kind of hometown area boy, John Cena, and his run so far in WWE. A lot of people who are Ring of Honor fans, and I'm adding on to the question now, a lot of people who are Ring of Honor fans, independent pro wrestling fans, are very anti-John Cena. They think he's bad for the business. They think that he's been around for too long. But what are your thoughts, candid thoughts right here, comments about John Cena?
I think, I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again. I think he is awesome. I think he is one of the best ever. The guy has been on top for 10 years. Not even Stone Cold or The Rock were on top for 10 years. The guy is great, and I don't care what people say. He sells out arenas. He sells merchandise. He makes movies. He's a legitimate, bona fide superstar. Kids love him. Girls love him. Most guys love him. I don't care what they say. And the thing I love about Cena is you always can tell he's trying to improve. He's always trying to get better. He's always trying to own his craft. Wrestling fans, indie fans, whatever they're called, smart fan. I hate that term, smart fans or smart. I hate calling fans marks. I think that's so stupid. But whatever they're called, they're allowed to hate him. That's great, but you can't tell me he's bad. If you don't like him, that's great. When I was a kid, when I was a fan, I still am a fan, but there were plenty of guys I didn't like, but I did not think they were good. I always thought everyone was talented. And Cena's amazing. Some of his matches are great. His matches with Punk have been awesome. So, and I know people say, well, that's just CM Punk. No, it takes two to tango. It's never just one person. You can't have matches like that and have Punk be in control the whole time. Punk's amazing. Cena's amazing. And I just think he's great. He's great on the microphone. Him and The Rock went back and forth on promos, and he kept up with The Rock, and sometimes he was better than him. And I don't think there's anyone denying that The Rock's not the best promo guy, one of all-time greatest promo guys. So, you can't hate on the guy. He's great. He's always on top. He's always headlining pay-per-views, and it's not because that's what the powers that be wanted. He works his ass off, and I'll tell you this. The number one thing that I love about the guy is what he does for Make-A-Wish. He is the all-time, he's granted the most wishes out of anybody ever, and that's incredible. That tells you the type of person he is, and that's, to me, what I respect the most. I respect his ring work and his wrestling and all that stuff, but the fact that he does that just speaks volumes of the kind of human being he is, and I don't think enough people appreciate that. I think they just, he's doing another Make-A-Wish. That's amazing. I don't think people realize what that effect has on a child or a family that's going through this hard time because their child is sick or recovering or whatnot, and the fact that he grants those so nonchalantly and just does it is, to me, just the what makes him amazing.
He doesn't have to do it. That's the best part about it. Nobody's twisting his arm to go see a sick kid in, Des Moines, Iowa, or wherever they are. No offense to Des Moines, but that seems to always be the place that gets brought up. But nobody's twisting his arm. Nobody's saying, John, you must go see this kid. He's putting himself out there.
He does it because he wants to do it, and that's extremely respectable.
Absolutely. One more question, and this was a couple months ago. Yourself and Maria were very outspoken about the WWE and their Total Divas program on Twitter and in social media and different outlets. After the show's been on for, people have mixed reactions about it, but it's been on for a few months now, and it's drawn pretty good ratings. Fans seem to be tuning in. What are your thoughts now on the Total Divas program?
It's funny. After the original episode, maybe I watched the second one. I haven't seen it since those first two episodes, and it's not something I've done intentionally, but I've just always been busy, or I'm doing something else, or, now that football season starts, it's on Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, every Sunday I'm either watching football or traveling back from a wrestling weekend or something. I haven't had the opportunity to see it. I will say this from a female wrestling standpoint, which I am obviously a huge supporter of, and I don't think they get enough credit. I love the fact that the girls or the women, I hate the term divas, but the women and divas or whatever are getting exposure. I think that's something that needs to happen more. I'm a huge fan of Natalya Neidhart. I think she's amazing. So I love the fact that she's getting the credit that she finally deserves. I don't really have an opinion on the rest of the girls. I'm sure Maria does. I could care less about them. I think the Funkadactyls are great and talented, and I think they have a bright future. But I think the fact that female wrestling and female wrestlers as a whole are getting more exposure. I think that's good for them because I think there's lots of money to be made with female wrestling, and I think it's a boat that is seriously being missed by every wrestling company, not just WWE. I think TNA misses it, even though they have the knockouts. I think Ring of Honor misses it, even though we have the Women of Honor. I don't think it's truly tapped into or given the credit that it deserves because, I look at some of the girls in Ring of Honor from, Maria's amazing, and Veda Scott is amazing, and we have Mischief, and she's amazing, and, the Hoopla Hotties, Scarlett, and Casey Ray is amazing, and she's so athletic, and I just think it is such a boat that we need to latch onto and more wrestling companies need to latch onto. So as a whole, I'm glad they're getting the exposure. I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on it. I think there could be better girls that could be on it besides the ones I've listed, but, who am I to talk? If the ratings are there, they're there.
Absolutely. I personally think that it can put the spotlight on women's wrestling, not just in WWE, but across the board, like you were saying, over the long haul. I think once they see that these storylines that they use on the show, you could easily use these storylines on a regular wrestling show and make it a little more reality-based. And who knows, it could draw. Just have the action happen in the squared circle. Now, let's take this interview full circle, Mike, and Ring of Honor Final Battle, December 14th in the Hammerstein Ballroom, a place that I love to be, and I wish I could go this year, but sadly I cannot make it. I've been to a lot of Final Battles in the past, but I definitely will catch the show one way or another. You've got one of the biggest matches of your entire career against Kevin Steen. It's a stretcher match. Loser must stop using the Piledriver, a move that you've heard a lot of people with, and it's been your staple lately. Wrap this up. Tell us your final thoughts on this match and what we can expect for Mike Bennett in the future.
Well, I'll tell you this I'm going to actually make up this match. What I'm going to say about the match very short. I'm going to say it's probably going to be the most brutal match of the night, but I guarantee the Ring of Honor fans that this will be the best Mike Bennett match that you have ever seen. I promise. It's the biggest stage for us, and I am going to go balls to the wall, and me and Kevin are probably going to end up hurting each other, but I think the fans are going to be pleasantly surprised. As far as me in the future, I think this is going to be a good year for me. I've done a lot already, and I think sooner rather than later, Mike Bennett will be the face of Ring of Honor, whether you love it or hate it. I think that's what's destined for the future.
I love it. I agree with you. Mike, thanks so much for being on the show once again tonight. It was a great interview. You're always a great guy to talk to. You're very outspoken, and you have all these issues that you can talk about, not just wrestling. That's why I love talking to you, Mike. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I'd love to come back, so anytime. Thanks again.
Absolutely, man. I'll be in touch, and I'll definitely tweet you, too, about whatever goes on in the NFL season. So, I'll talk to you soon.
Please do. Take care, my man.